All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we are going all in on Apple and AI. We're talking about whether Apple has what it takes to become, a real force in AI. And this whole Apple Intelligence thing,
Yeah.
is it more than just hype?
Well, we found this really interesting article from the Motley Fool. Meet the supercharged growth stock headed to $4 trillion over the coming 12 to 18 months, according to one Wall Street analyst.
Okay.
Hint, not Nvidia.
Not Nvidia, huh? Bold statement right off the bat. Nvidia, they're like the AI leaders right now. So what makes them think Apple, famous for their hardware, is going to be the next big AI player?
Well, the article starts by, acknowledging that Nvidia is successful, right?
Yeah.
That it says some investors might be looking for safer options in the AI world. And that's where Apple steps in. They've got this history of, steady growth, tons of loyal customers.
Yeah, Apple is definitely not a stranger to success. Their stock, especially over the past decade, has been incredible. But they've had some slowdowns recently, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true. The article talks about how iPhone sales have slowed down a bit. It's the economy, right? And people are holding onto their phones longer.
Great.
But even with all that, Apple actually gained market share in 2023. They have 7 out of the top 10 smartphone spots.
Okay, wow. So even with the rough times, they're still coming out on top.
Right.
So that's what's making people predict Apple hitting $4 trillion.
It's a big part of it. So this analyst, Dan Ives from Wedbush, he's betting on a huge surge in iPhone sales because of the iPhone 16.
Right.
He calls it a super cycle. So there's a couple of things. Improving economy.
Right.
And get this, 300 million iPhones are 4 years old or older.
Wow.
So those people might be ready to upgrade.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's thinking people will ditch their old phones to get the 16. A lot of faith in one device.
Yeah, he's predicting people are going to be throwing their old phones out the window just to get the 16. It's a bold prediction.
It is. He's forecasting they could sell 240 million iPhones next year. And Apple themselves, they're really emphasizing AI on the iPhone 16.
Yeah, and calling it Apple Intelligence.
Exactly. Apple Intelligence.
So let's talk about Apple Intelligence. AI is everywhere these days. What's different about Apple's approach?
Yeah.
Are we talking iPhones becoming self-aware and taking over the world or something?
Not quite yet. No robot uprising. But their strategy is interesting. Other companies are making these big, flashy AI promises, revolutionizing everything. But Apple, they're taking a much quieter, more integrated approach.
Interesting.
It's all about improving existing features, making AI blend into our lives without being, in your face.
Okay, so less flash, more function. Very Apple. But can you give me some examples? What does this seamless integration actually look like for, the average person?
Let's say you're writing an email and you want to add a visual, a picture or something.
Yeah.
With Apple Intelligence, you could just describe the image you want, like a chart showing sales growth. And the AI would create it right there in the email app.
Okay.
No switching between apps, no design skills needed.
That's slick. So they want to make AI, easy and approachable, not intimidating. But is that enough to win in the, AI race?
That's the big question, right? They're betting that people want a smooth, easy experience above all else. And they're big on privacy, which a lot of people are worried about with AI.
So instead of doing everything on the cloud, they're keeping more of the AI stuff on the device itself.
You got it. They can offer cool features without compromising your data. It's not just throwing random AI features at you. It's carefully built into everything Apple, Makes it feel natural.
I like that. So how does this all connect back to this prediction of Apple reaching, this massive $4 trillion valuation?
Yeah.
Is the iPhone 16 really the key here?
iPhones are still a huge part of Apple's income. So if this super cycle thing happens and people upgrade like crazy, it's going to be a huge boost.
So Ives thinks that boost, plus the growth of their services, is going to be enough to get them to that $4 trillion.
Yeah. It's bold, no doubt. But to know if it's even possible, we have to look deeper at this Apple Intelligence. How could it change how people use technology, All
right, so let's break down some of these Apple Intelligence features. We've got image generation. What else is in their AI toolbox?
Well, there's a bunch of cool stuff in this article. Imagine this. Automating things across different apps using just your voice. You're driving home and you want to text your family, let them know you're almost there.
Yeah.
You just say, "Hey Siri, text the family group chat. I'll be home in 15 minutes.
And it's done.
Done. No more messing with your phone while driving.
That's really handy. And I've heard they're giving Siri a serious upgrade. Is that true?
It seems like it. The article mentions better natural language processing. Basically, Siri will understand you better, even anticipate what you need.
Oh, wow.
Imagine you ask Siri, find me a recipe using what's left in my fridge. And it gives you a list based on your diet, what you actually have.
No, that is a smart assistant. They're really making everyday stuff easier, more efficient. What about entertainment, though? Music, movies. Any AI tricks up their sleeve for that?
Absolutely. There's this thing they're doing with audio. Imagine listening to a song and adjusting the levels of the instruments, creating your own mix.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Or watching a movie and asking Siri to explain the ending if you're confused.
Okay, that would have been helpful for some movies I've seen.
Right.
So they're really thinking of everything. What about people who aren't super tech savvy? Will they be able to use all this AI stuff?
That's a big focus for Apple, making AI simple for everyone, no matter their tech skills. They're making these features intuitive, user-friendly, so even if you're not, a tech expert, you can still use AI.
That makes sense. They're trying to get rid of that barrier, that some people feel with AI.
Absolutely.
It can seem overwhelming. But it sounds like they're including some more, some advanced features for, the people who want to go a little deeper. What about the ChatGPT integration?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Having ChatGPT right on your iPhone opens up a lot of possibilities.
Like what?
You could write different creative stuff like poems, codes, scripts, music, emails, whatever, or get help with research, writing projects. It's like having this super smart brainstorming partner in your pocket.
So they're giving us a whole range of AI, from the simple and practical to the, really advanced and creative stuff. But how does all this affect the big picture of AI?
Well, if Apple can actually make AI more mainstream, easy to use, it could really change the whole industry.
So you mean other companies might have to step up their game, focus more on user experience if they want to keep up?
Exactly. Apple, they've always been disruptors. They set new standards. This whole AI approach could be a game changer. So where were we? Oh, yeah, let's talk about what this all means for investors. This article, it looks at Apple's value right now, and if this super cycle could really push them to that, $4 trillion market cap.
Okay, break it down for me. I'm not exactly a Wall Street expert. What's their financial situation right now? How much more would they need to grow to hit that target?
All right, so their price-to-earnings ratio, PE ratio, is around 30 right now.
PE ratio.
Yeah, basically it tells you how much investors will pay for each dollar of a company's earnings. Higher PE usually means investors expect big earnings growth in the future.
So 30, that means investors are feeling pretty good about Apple's future earnings.
Exactly. Apple's got this track record of growth and profit, So investors are willing to pay a premium for their stock. But to get to $4 trillion, their revenue needs to jump way up, even if that PE ratio stays the same.
And Ives, he's saying the iPhone 16 is going to be the main driver for that revenue jump.
That's his bet. He thinks all those people with old iPhones, remember we talked about 300 million,
Yeah.
plus the economy getting better, it's going to create this huge demand.
But isn't that a lot riding on just one product? What if the iPhone 16 isn't as amazing as everyone thinks, or if the economy takes a downturn?
You're right, those are real risks. Investing always has risks. This analyst prediction, it's based on certain things happening. If they don't happen, things could turn out very differently.
So what do you think? Is this super cycle prediction realistic, or is it a bit of a fantasy?
Well, it's tough to say for sure. The market, it can be really unpredictable. But I think Apple has a lot going for it. Loyal customers, a strong brand, history of innovation.
Then they're not just selling hardware anymore. They've got their whole services thing going on, which could give them a more, consistent income.
Definitely. Services like Apple Music, Apple TV, plus iCloud, they're becoming more and more important to their bottom line. And they're tied into their devices, creates this ecosystem that's hard to leave.
Yeah, it's like once you're in the Apple world, it's hard to get out.
Right.
So it's not just about selling iPhones, it's about building this whole Apple universe, keeping people engaged. But is that enough for this crazy valuation?
Well, look at other tech giants. Microsoft, Amazon, they've diversified, and they're worth trillions, right? So it's not impossible for Apple.
That's a good point. But those companies are huge in cloud computing and enterprise services, areas where Apple's been kind of, behind. Do you think they can catch up?
It's a challenge, but they're working on it. Their cloud services are growing, and they're getting into the enterprise market more. But it's early. They need to keep investing a lot to compete with the big guys.
So basically, there are lots of chances for Apple to grow, but also some roadblocks they need to navigate.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears for a sec. Let's talk about us, the regular consumers. How's this AI focus going to change the way we use our devices?
That's the key question. I think Apple's saying with their AI, we're going to make technology easier, more personalized.
So no robots replacing us, just AI making our life better.
Exactly. Taking care of boring tasks, personalizing things, giving us information faster.
Instead of fighting with our devices, AI can help us, actually enjoy them, be more in control.
That's the idea. But there are some things to think about, like privacy, and making sure AI is used ethically, not in harmful ways.
Right. New tech always comes with new questions.
Yeah.
But let's stay positive for now. More examples of how Apple Intelligence could improve our lives. What else you got?
Okay, healthcare. Imagine an Apple Watch not just tracking your heart rate, sleep, but actually catching early signs of health problems.
Oh, wow, that would be amazing.
Like heart rhythm issues, sleep apnea, and it shares that info with your doctor.
So it's like having a doctor on your wrist.
Kind of. AI could be a game changer for preventive healthcare.
What about other areas?
Education. Think of AI apps that personalize your lessons, adjust to how you learn best, or virtual tutors giving you feedback right when you need it.
AI could really revolutionize how we learn, how we access information.
Totally. What about creative stuff, though? Music, art, writing.
Yeah, that's a good one. Some people are worried AI will, take over creativity.
Right.
But I think it can also be a tool for artists, writers,
I agree. Imagine AI helping you write music, come up with ideas for art, even write a book together.
It's like AI becomes your creative partner. That's a cool way to think about it.
And that's just the beginning. AI has the potential to change how we work, communicate, travel, everything.
It's a lot to think about, all these possibilities.
Right.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. What are the key takeaways for our listeners? What do they need to know about Apple and AI?
I think the big thing is Apple's being really thoughtful about AI. They're not chasing every trend. They're integrating it in a way that makes sense, that's easy for people to use.
They're not trying to win some AI popularity contest. They're trying to create something that actually benefits their users.
That's it. And that's important when you're thinking about Apple and AI. It's not just the tech itself, it's how that tech is used to make our lives better.
Making tech work for us, not the other way around. But we got to remember, even with all the hype, we're still early in the AI game.
Very true. AI is changing fast. Lots of challenges ahead. But Apple joining the game, that's a big deal. It'll be interesting to see how their approach changes the future of AI.
Definitely. So before we wrap up, here's a question for everyone listening. What if Apple really does make AI mainstream? What will that mean for our society? Will it help us solve problems, or will it create new problems?
Big questions we all need to be thinking about as AI becomes more a part of our lives.
We can't ignore this conversation. It's a conversation we need to have together. And we hope you keep exploring these ideas with us as we continue our deep dive into Apple and AI. So we've talked a lot about Apple and their AI plans, everything from Apple Intelligence to these predictions of them becoming a multi-trillion-dollar company.
Yeah, we have.
But I think it's good to step back, look at the bigger picture here.
I agree.
Where should we start with that?
Let's rewind. Remember, this whole thing started with this analyst saying Apple could hit a $4 trillion market cap.
Right. And a lot of people were like, wait, what? Because they're not exactly leading the AI charge right now, are they?
Yeah, exactly. They're not seen as the front runners, but that's what makes this so fascinating, Apple's not trying to be the loudest voice in the AI conversation. They're doing their own thing. You know what I mean?
So they're not focused on being first or being the flashiest. They're more about being strategic, user-focused.
That's it. And I think that's where their real strength is. They're not just, throwing a bunch of AI features out there to see what happens. They're really integrating them into their existing products, making it feel, natural and easy to use.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, we're not going to bombard you with all this tech jargon and make it complicated. We're going to make AI work for you in a way that's seamless and easy.
Exactly. And I think that's really appealing, especially for people who might be a little intimidated by all the AI hype.
Yeah, I know I feel that sometimes. It's okay, everyone's saying AI is going to change the world, but how is it going to change my world?
That's exactly the question Apple's trying to answer. They're showing that AI isn't just some abstract idea. It's something that can actually help us, in our everyday lives.
Yeah.
Make things easier, more productive, maybe even more fun.
So they're making it real, relating it back to our actual experiences.
Yeah, and if they can do that well, it could really change how we use technology in the future.
Yeah, shifting the focus from what AI can do to what AI can do for me.
And that shift could be huge. It could open up AI to everyone, not just, tech people.
Right. It becomes less of an exclusive thing and more something that everyone can benefit from.
Right, exactly. And that's a good thing. But of course, there are still some bumps in the road.
Right. We talked about some of the challenges they might face, like depending so much on iPhone sales and the competition they're up against.
And there are bigger picture questions too, like how is AI going to affect jobs? How do we make sure it's used ethically, responsibly?
Those are big questions that go way beyond just Apple.
Yeah.
But they're questions we need to be asking as AI becomes, more and more a part of our lives.
Absolutely. And it's not a conversation for just one group.
Yeah.
It's got to involve everyone, tech people, policymakers, everyday people, everyone.
Yeah, it's a collective responsibility to figure this out.
Yeah. And, AI has so much potential to do good in the world.
Oh, for sure. But it's up to us to make sure it's used the right way, that everyone benefits.
I agree. So I guess to wrap up this deep dive, I just want to leave everyone with this thought.
Okay, go for it.
Don't just sit back and watch this AI revolution happen. Be a part of it. Ask questions. Push back when something doesn't feel right. And demand that AI is used to make the world better.
That's a great call to action. I love that. And on that note, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this journey into Apple and the world of AI.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And remember, the future of AI, it's not set in stone. It's up to all of us to decide what it looks like.